Friends, take care of your skin using aloe light juice and skin gel. My dry, troubled skin felt better right away. It's my #1 choice for beautiful and healthy skin. Using aloe light, aloe juice, skin gel, and lotion starts soothing and renewing dry skin and oily skin on contact, easing irritations on cracking skin too. Aloe Life Skin Gel is the best therapy without a prescription, feeling soft and smooth, balancing, feeling youthful. Use Aloe Life products including Skin Gel, sold nationally at your favorite natural food store and pharmacy. Online, find a store near you at aloelife.com or call Aloe Life 1-800-414-ALOE. That's 1-800-414-2563. Look and feel your best with Aloe Life.
Medical scientists worldwide are encouraging people to eat more fish. Most American diets are low in cold water fish that are abundant in important omega-3 oils. DHA and EPA are the vital components of fish oil that provide healthy benefits. Not only are they crucial for brain and vision development, they're very important for cardiovascular health. Carlson, America's leading Norwegian fish oil brand, specializes in both great-tasting soft gels that are easy to swallow and fish oil liquids that don't taste fishy. That's right, Carlson provides the most extensive line of fish oils to meet all your needs. You can take Carlson fish oils with confidence, for Carlson fish oils are tested for purity, potency, and freshness. Ask for Carlson Norwegian fish oils today. That's right, ask for Carlson Norwegian fish oils today.
Welcome to Here's to Your Health with Joshua Lane. Here's to Your Health discusses the current thinking in wellness, bringing you the most influential thinkers in beauty, fitness, and longevity. Your host, Joshua Lane, was part of the Dr. Ann Wigmore team that helped bring wheatgrass sprouts and raw foods to a worldwide audience. And now the host of Here's to Your Health, Joshua Lane.
Welcome to this edition of Here's to Your Health. I'm your host, Josh Lane. My guest is the author, Laura Aversano. Laura has a new book out called The Divine Nature of Plants, a medical intuitive's guide to plant spirit medicine. Very nice book, nicely done. A lot of good information. And Laura's been doing this now for more than 30 years. And some people just have the gift of being intuitives. And some people laugh at that. But I'm happy to say I have direct experience working with people who actually have the ability to tell us things that we think that's just remarkable. And one of those people is Laura Aversano. Laura, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
No, very happy to have you on Here's to Your Health. Now, I guess the most important starting question is, what is a medical intuitive?
Sure. I can't speak for other medical intuitives, but I can certainly speak for myself. So as a medical intuitive, I am able to work with a client and ascertain the origins of their illnesses or ailments or conditions on various levels via clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, or claircognizance. I'm able to ascertain patterns in their energetic field from a spiritual perspective, a psychic perspective. I look at their physical health, and many times I'm able to see what's causing them to be sick on a physiological and physical level. I'm able to see childhood patterns, childhood wounds, epigenetic wounds relevant to their ancestral lineages, as well as spiritual miasms.
Well, yes, that makes perfect sense to me. Our guest is Laura Aversano, a medical intuitive, author of a new book, very nice new book, published by Inner Traditions, called The Divine Nature of Plants, a medical intuitive's guide to plant spirit medicine. And so now you just mentioned many things which I think are just valid, have a little experience in the subject. So are you saying that a person can be manifesting health problems now as a result of childhood traumas that happened 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years ago?
Absolutely. They actually can be manifesting illnesses that have happened with traumas relevant to their parents' history or their grandparents' history. There's an actual science called epigenetics,
Hmm.
where our DNA responds to trauma and that is inherited and passed down. So many times I will look at a client and all of a sudden I will see something in their energy field relevant to their mother's story or their father's story, a trauma that they survived, or perhaps their grandparents, and see how it influenced their DNA, or rather their response in their DNA to that trauma, and how it manifested in an illness today.
Wow. Laura, now that the statement just make, by the way, I want you to know that I agree with that. Is there more and more science supporting that now? Even though
Yes,
it does seem to some people like that's kind of, let me use the expression, far out. Oh no, we can't relate to that. But there does seem to be kind of scientific support for that now.
absolutely, there is. They're even talking about Agent Orange syndrome being passed down generations.
Oh
We can
God.
see people who've gone through genocide or war 3 generations later. We see illnesses just spontaneously come out of the blue. Also, we can look at, I work with many clients who have lived in towns, even one of my clients this morning, around factories or chemical plants or their fathers or grandfathers. I think it was last week, one of my clients, when I was looking at her energy field, she was very sick, and I said, I'm pretty clear. I think one of your parents or grandparents grew up in a factory or work with chemicals or plants or something. There's some sort of fiber that I'm seeing on their clothes. And they confirmed what I was seeing. And it infected this in person by helping to influence colitis.
Right. Right. Our guest is Laura Aversano. Laura Aversano, a medical intuitive, the author of a new book called The Divine Nature of Plants, a medical intuitive's guide to plant spirit medicine. So, Laura, how do people find you? How do they come to speak to you about, I guess, really their past and their present? And I guess that you tell them things that they're thinking, well, how could Laura possibly know this? I never told anyone that.
Yes, I'll be honest, it'll be 30 years that I've started to practice, and I've built my practice mostly on referrals, even before, prior to the books coming out, in 7 different countries. And when somebody calls, I ask them to just give me 3 intentions if they're working with a childhood trauma or a health issue. And then I say a prayer and I share with them what I'm seeing surrounding the intention that they're calling me with.
And Laura, when did you discover or when did you realize that you have this, let me use the word gift because I see it as a gift actually. I just, I guess some of the people in the Judeo-Christian traditions would be angry at you thinking, oh no, that's not you, that's not good work, don't go see Laura. Years ago I had knew someone, Iris Salzman, a clairvoyant, who
Mhm.
was Jewish, and but the local rabbis were very unhappy with her, and also, and the Christian clerics also were not happy, but the rabbis went after her, and I thought, well, why? And they just thought it was just terrible that she was doing these kind of healings.
I'm sorry to hear that. I was born into a lineage of seers and gifted women and men with various gifts. And since I was a child, I was communicating with the other side. And at age 19, I came down with a mysterious illness and we figured it out. And from that point on, I remember when I was sick, my mother took me to see my first psychic healer at 19. And he said, "Do you realize how talented you are?" And he said, instead of the direction that you were heading, you really need to take these talents and start studying. And so I did. And as a result of that illness, besides communicating with the other side, I began to see people would pass by me and I began to see ancestors around them. I began to see illnesses in their bodies or illnesses before that they would actually develop. I began to see remedies, things that would help balance them, hence the divine nature of plants. And what you said about religion, one of my mentors was a Catholic priest, he's now deceased, was a Catholic priest who did study with the Vatican when it came to demonology, and he very much blessed my gifts in moving forward.
Well, that's very nice. And so you had the good fortune that your family was supportive.
Absolutely. I'm so grateful to my mother, especially, but absolutely.
Okay, so that's really obviously if your mom feels a certain way, it's your mom, and you think, oh, so that gives you a lot of support. That's a really good thing. Now,
Oh, yes,
how did you
indeed.
come to start using herbs? And do people, well, I guess now people listen, but I mean, maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, and you talk about using, like, for example, like dandelion, they probably thought, what is she talking about?
I've never had that experience. I was very lucky, but I started as again after that illness at 19. I started to hear from the spirit worlds or actually see visions of foods, of herbs, of medicinals that would help me get stronger and get better. And whenever somebody would pass by me before I actually officially started a practice, if somebody was sick, I could grab their hand and I would mention a food source to them or a plant source to them. So it started slowly, but I was inundated with, again, food, plants, remedies of various natural substances to help balance or heal illness, however we define heal.
Okay, so that's very impressive. Okay, so our guest is Laura Aversano, who is a medical intuitive and has a book out, a very nice book from Inner Traditions, which is a very good publishing house. And the book is
Yes,
called The Divine Nature of Plants, a Medical Intuitive's Guide to Plant Spirit Medicine. Now, Laura, so if I'm not sure, this is a broad question, but what are some of the medicinal plants that we all know about that you really want to mention we should try to eat?
definitely dandelion. Dandelion is one of my all-time favorites. On a spiritual level, it helps us with loss and grief and also anger, which is, I think a lot of us have been experiencing this, a lot of emotions. They're coming to the forefront, especially since the pandemic. I think most of us spend our time disassociated from our bodies. I think the pandemic gave us all the opportunity to be present with our emotions as opposed to disassociating because most of us were literally physically isolated.
Right.
And dandelion, I think, became such a go-to herb and one of my favorite herbs to recommend to people to start creating a relationship with, to start eating it, perhaps to have a tincture, even to take a plant bath with some of the flowers.
Okay.
It really is truly one of my favorite.
Now, our guest, Laura Aversano, the medical intuitive, with a new book out called The Divine Nature of Plants, a medical intuitive's guide to plant spirit medicine. Now, Laura, I know that with dandelion, some people say you can eat the entire plant. You eat the little yellow flowers, it's supposedly very good for vision. I guess when you take dandelion leaves, they're very good for us. And if you roast the root, it has a great coffee-like flavor. People love it.
Yes,
People love it.
like chicory.
Yeah,
Yep.
like chicory. And also it's very good, I guess, for liver and digestion. So,
Hmm.
so when you recommend dandelion, what do you recommend? How do you recommend using dandelion?
Well, it depends on the person. I have to be honest. It depends on what the person is struggling with. If it's a physiological issue, I will recommend the leaves. If it is a spiritual issue or emotional issue, I might recommend the tincture of the flower. It really depends on the vibration. I try to match the vibration of the specific plant part with the physical ailment, emotional ailment, or spiritual ailment.
All right. Our guest, Laura Aversano, author of The Divine Nature of Plants. Laura, why don't you please give us your contact information so the listeners of Here's to Your Health can, contact you directly, buy your book, again, from Inner Traditions, but also, chat with you about a consultation.
Thank you. It's my website. It's www.lauraaversano.com, and there'll be a contact page where you can contact me via email.
All right, that sounds very good. And so you do most of your work via Zoom these days?
It's actually by phone. The truth
Oh,
is, I don't want Zoom to take away from my focus with people, and sometimes it can when I'm staring directly at them. I've done again phone sessions for so many years across 7 different countries. I don't need to see somebody to see what's going on.
okay, that's actually very impressive. That's really very impressive. Okay, and so people call you, they've been referred by friends or family, and they contact you. So now, other than dandelion, which most of us kind of, we know dandelion, what else that's very, very popular is good for us?
Right now, and I try to think of what's going on right now, um, milk thistle.
Ah, milk
Milk
thistle.
thistle is really, again, another liver herb.
Right.
Milk thistle is really, really important. There's a lot of stagnation and uncertainty and chaos in the world.
Right.
And I feel like we don't have a container to hold it all. And milk thistle, I feel like can give us a buffer and or a boundary to help us process everything that we're taking in.
Okay, milk thistle is great. And on milk thistle, do you like the capsules? Is there a preference, or based on every person?
Again, it depends on the person's energy and frequency. Sometimes, and other plant spirit medicine practitioners have shared this. Sometimes a person can just hold an herb, or they can hold a living plant. Let's say if it were in the summer, they don't actually have to ingest it. It really depends.
No kidding. That's fantastic. I'm sorry, I never heard that
Yes.
before. That's fantastic.
Oh,
Wow.
yes. A lot of times when I'm working with clients, I will actually envision the plant in my mind
Wow.
and I will muscle test them long distance and they can feel it. They'll tell me, yes, my nasal passages are starting to clear, or I'm feeling more energized, or the bone pain is alleviating. So they'll feel it over the phone.
Wow, Laura, that's fantastic. That's I just love that. I love that. The body is so subtle. It's
It
amazing
is.
all the things about humans that we don't know. And I'm assuming, or I'm guessing, that the idea of a medical intuitive, which now a lot of people think, well, okay, maybe. Years ago they would have laughed, but I think more and more people recognize we human beings are pretty remarkable, and some people just have this remarkable gift. And I'll say it's a gift of healing that maybe we all have on some level, but some people are just better at it. And you seem to be one of those people, one of those persons.
It's a
I would say.
co-relationship. It's a co-relationship between a practitioner and client.
Right, right. Our guest is Laura Aversano, author of a book called The Divine Nature of Plants, a medical intuitive's guide to plant spirit medicine, published by Inner Traditions. Laura, we just have like a minute left. Tell us one more herb that you really like to recommend that we all just like.
Mm.
How about red clover? I'm a big red clover
I
fan.
was going to say that, but I'm
Okay.
going to say garlic.
Oh yeah, garlic's great. Yeah, yeah,
Garlic.
yeah.
It's right now, again, I think it's really healthy for grounding as well as for our microbiome.
Okay. Yeah, everyone loves garlic. Yeah, that's really
Yeah. And
people
it's a
are happy with garlic.
prebiotic food. So I'm going to say it's a more of a food. It's a prebiotic food.
Right. I completely agree. So once again, give us your contact information.
Sure, it's www.lauraeversano.com, and you can also find me on Facebook.
Oh, you have a Facebook page, and the Facebook page is what? Just
I have a professional one and a personal one, and most people go to my personal one, so it's Laura Aversano.
very nice. Our guest is Laura Aversano, the medical intuitive, with a great new book out called The Divine Nature of Plants, a medical intuitive's guide to plant spirit medicine, published by Inner Traditions. And Laura also has, this is also actually pretty new, or very new, a 40-card deck and guidebook called Plant Spirits Oracle. Again, it's by Laura Aversano. And again, a medical intuitive, which is a valid concept. A brand new book is called The Divine Nature of Plants, a medical intuitive's guide to plant spirit medicine. This is Josh Lane. You're listening to Here's to Your Health. We'll take a short break, and we'll be right back after these important messages.
Have you had your Carlson Norwegian fish oil today? Decades ago, scientists discovered why Greenland Eskimos maintain healthy hearts despite their high-fat diets. The high level of omega-3 oils in their seafood diet protected their hearts. Carlson Norwegian fish oil provides those important omega-3 oils. The same omega-3s from cold water fish support maximum brain power, immune strength, joint comfort, and our vision too. Carlson, the very finest fish oil, is a valuable source of the important omega-3s EPA and DHA. Each teaspoon provides a full 1,600 milligrams of omega-3s. And its purity is guaranteed. Try it on salads and popcorn. It tastes like lemon, not fishy. Ask for Carlson, the very finest fish oil, at finer health food stores today.
Friends, say goodbye to rough, dry, and troubled skin.
Even acne scars fade with Alolife Skin Gel by Alolife, not over-processed. So look for the dark yellow color, like the ancients wrote about, that gets to work fast in 5 minutes to 45 days. Skin Gel for more beautiful skin by Alolife. Call 800-414-ALOE. That's 800-414-ALO. An A-plus Better Business Bureau company. Skin Gel available at Whole Foods, Clark's, Natural Grocers, other quality stores, plus alolife.com. 800-414-ALO. That's 800-414-ALOE. Alolife, aloe vera. For you, 800-414-ALO. Do something good for yourself. Zoom into the new year. Leaders in health products since 1991. Alolife, for a healthier life.
The latest from the greatest, the best in new music by classic rockers, with your host, the insane Daryl Wayne.
This is Alice Cooper, and if Daryl Wayne is insane, what does that make me? Criminally insane. Stick around to find out.
Many of the artist interviews for the latest from the greatest have been captured on audiobook. There is a Volume 1 and Volume 2. Great information and conversations with people in the industry and people surrounded by the industry, and of course the rock stars themselves.
I'm the Reverend Al Green, and you're listening to the insane Daryl Wayne. And I said Wayne Insane.
You can find it on Amazon or Blackstone Audio. Search for the latest from the greatest from Daryl Wayne, Darrell Wayne.
Hello, this is Weird Al Yankovic, and you're listening to the insane Daryl Wayne, aren't you?
Welcome to this edition of Here's to Your Health. I'm your host, Josh Lane, and my guest is Benjamin Smith. Benjamin Smith, the author of a very good new book called Why Are You Sick? How to Reclaim Your Health with the Ultimate Health Model. And Benjamin Smith has been doing this for quite a while. And we're going to start out. Well, Benjamin, welcome to the show, first of all. Hello.
Thank you very much for having me.
Happy to have you on the show. And so, again, Benjamin has a new book out called Why Are You Sick? How to Reclaim Your Health with the Ultimate Health Model. And Benjamin, do you believe that inflammation is the common thread behind most chronic diseases?
Absolutely. Chronic inflammation is the definitely the main one of the main players for sure.
And so inflammation is a broad term, but does that work in with your model of health and healing?
Yes, it does. So chronic inflammation is, and let's kind of pivot for 1 second. Chronic inflammation is the body in constant, emergency mode. Mm-hmm. So that's really the way to look at it, Josh. And so to pivot, inflammation. So if you imagine your body like a city, so what I found in the most health confusion comes from people looking at parts of the body in isolation. So I started explaining the body as a coordinated system, almost like a living city. And suddenly all these debates start to make sense. So when you understand as a city, like I live in Los Angeles, understand your body like a city. And then things start to make sense. So the inflammation you're talking about, think of that as the emergency crews constantly working, repair crews in the city with no time for a break. Right. Then things can't rebuild in the city. Does that make sense?
It does make sense to me, and I think your perspective is becoming. If it's not exactly mainstream today, it's very close to being mainstream because the ideas work. The ideas work, right. Now, 30, 40 years ago, people might have said, oh, Benjamin, really, we can't talk to you, because they just thought you're so foolish. So this is kind of unfortunate and serious. As I understand it, both your mom and your sister died of cancer.
Yes.
And now that's actually pretty terrible.
Yes.
And did your mom and sister, just not really see it that way? They did conventional stuff?
Yeah. They follow the conventional model. And back then, I didn't know all the stuff I know now.
Right.
And so I helped them the best I could. But if I told my mom, hey, mom, don't do this, she'd go, well, my doctor said to do this. Don't, you're not a doctor.
Right.
And so it was
Right.
really falling on deaf ears,
Right.
unfortunately.
Right.
But now with my whole new lens, it's a new lens of looking at the body. And what's so interesting, Josh, is that we've been talking about the mitochondria, which is, and people listening might know what that is. That's the power plant of the cell. So we've been using analogies forever. For 50 years, right? That's so people know that the immune system's the police force, blah, blah, blah. All I did was expand on that analogy.
Right.
And so this way, it puts all the systems together so it can answer questions that might be difficult right now to answer because it puts it all in this cell city framework.
Right. Our guest, for those just tuning into the show, our guest is Benjamin Smith. Benjamin Smith has a new book out called Why Are You Sick? How to Reclaim Your Health with the Ultimate Health Model. Now,
and a new audiobook too. We have an audiobook with the same information.
Oh, really? By the way, so here's a good juncture. So, Benjamin, how can people contact you to find out more about your work?
So they can go to my website at ultimatehealthmodel.com where they can learn about the mapping. They can go to Instagram where we have, I think, 100 posts on different topics from nose breathing to grounding to sunlight to food, all the things that are, mainstream might not talk about. So anywhere you find Ultimate Health Model, you'll find us because we own that term. So we own Ultimate Health Model, all one word. And anywhere they find that, they will find us.
So in other words, they can go to your website and Facebook page and see the information, and they can contact you directly. And where can they buy your book?
They can buy the book on Amazon. I think it's on Google Reads. I'm pretty much on Amazon, pretty much. But the audiobook is on all the major platforms. And the thing about the audiobook, which people might really enjoy, it's the same concepts as the book that you read, Josh. But imagine all those cartoon characters in my book telling the whole story in a comedy routine meets science lesson meets podcast all in one. So it's an entertainment experience of all these concepts that's not been done like that before in audiobooks.
Yes, people do like relaxed information. They don't want you to pound them on the head. They don't relate to that. It's not a good teaching method. No, when relaxation works, and I noticed that comics, the cartoon characters were actually very relaxing to look at and nicely done. So Benjamin, so what is it? What would you like to tell us is the central thesis that you really want us to know now?
I don't want people to be afraid of their health anymore, Josh. There's so much misinformation out there. People just don't know what to do, what to eat. My cholesterol is too high. My blood pressure is too high. It's too low. You hear all the time, I got this problem. I got that problem. When you understand how your body works as a city, then all those questions start to answer themselves and you feel a lot more empowered. You feel better. And understand this too. The reason one person can eat a food and they feel fine, other person eats it and they feel horrible is because everyone's cell city is different.
Right.
That's why you have to map it so they can start understanding how their own personal cell city works. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I read an article 4, 5, 6 years ago how some people by percentage like cilantro and other people really don't like cilantro. Yeah. And I thought that was very amusing. They said, no, it's genetics.
No. And there's some genetic components to different things, but most of it is the way their own personal cell city's working. So that's what I'm saying. You have to understand how your city works, and that's why we map it for you and work on your own map. So and think about this. I live in Los Angeles. If I didn't have a map, how would I get to New York City?
Right.
You couldn't.
Right.
You couldn't. So here's also something important. If someone feels stuck, the first step is not another protocol, Josh. Mm-hmm. It's understanding what state their system is in or their cell city. And once you understand that, the confusion and the fog just lifts.
All right. That overview. So, so our guest is Benjamin Smith. Benjamin Smith, the author of a new book, Why Are You Sick? How to Reclaim Your Health with the Ultimate Health Model. So Benjamin, So modeling that's just a cornerstone of your work?
Yeah, the mapping is the
mapping.
cornerstone of the work. Yeah, yeah. And then we have the ultimate health model that you learned about in the book and people can learn about. And so that when you understand the models in the book, then that can help to turn your city from a city on fire and emergency crews everywhere to a city that's running efficiently, everyone's working perfectly. And that's what the green side does. Now you understand. So and the red side of my model, people can't see it because we're talking instead. The red side of my model will put your city into inflammation state or emergency mode.
Gotcha.
And then the fire engines are going off, the alarms are going off. Just like in a city, there's just tons of confusion and chaos everywhere, and that's not good.
Right. No, it's not good at all. Our guest is Benjamin Smith, author of a brand new book called Why Are You Sick? How to Reclaim Your Health with the Ultimate Health Model. So, Ben, would you say that for most people, most of the time when they eat processed sugar, that tends to burn down their city?
A great analogy, but it's not exact. Yeah, I mean, you can say that, but it's more complicated than that. But
Sure.
You're causing damage to the power plants, to the buildings, to the infrastructure. Yeah, I mean, in general, yeah. And when you eat healthy food, you're repairing your buildings, the infrastructure. So and that's what I'm saying. You've just got to reframe it into a city,
Right.
and then everything starts to make sense in a way that you might not have ever even thought about.
No, the city analogy makes perfect sense to me. I think it's a very good teaching tool. And
Yes.
so at this juncture, please tell the listeners of Here's to Your Health, what are some of the healthy foods that you think we humans do well when we eat this?
Anything that was put here by nature. So anything that grows in the ground, anything that eats the things that grow in the ground.
Right.
That's it. So animal products, fruits and vegetables, and that's it.
Right.
I mean, and some beans and some anything that's a whole food, either plant or animal. It's really that simple, Josh. A donut is not something that grew in the ground.
Right. Right.
So it's people, you don't need to make it complicated. Whatever looks like something that grew here for 1,000,000 years ago, then eat it. If it doesn't, then don't. And I'm not saying you can't eat a donut here and there.
Right.
Once your own personal cell city is running efficiently and you understand how it works, then you're going to understand a donut here and there is not going to matter as long as your city's in growth mode and not constant chaos mode. Does that make sense?
Nicely put. Yes, it makes perfect sense to me. That seems very nice. And so when your clients come to you for consultation, the way you described it to me, they probably think, well, that makes sense. And it doesn't sound like you're judging them either. People hate it when you judge them for eating donuts. They think, well, don't you tell me not to eat donuts? People are very touchy, really. So no, that's real good.
No, it's not about that. It's about because they don't know how their own personal cell city is running.
Right.
And it's that simple.
Right. Our guest is Benjamin Smith, author of Why Are You Sick? How to Reclaim Your Health with the Ultimate Health Model. Now, you describe the idea that health is a system rather than an isolated problem. Now, a corollary to that is, what does the green side vis-a-vis the red side actually help people to do in daily life?
The green side are the things that build up your city and help you keep it running efficiently. The red side are negative things that cause inflammation. Anything that causes inflammation and stress, you've heard the term stress, chronic stress, all that stuff is causing the fires and the emergency crews to be constantly activated in Cell City. So there's never a break. Imagine wherever you live, there's fire trucks all day long, 24 hours a day. The police cars are on every building, every street. Nothing's going to get done.
Right. Our guest is Benjamin Smith, author of Why Are You Sick? Benjamin, so there's a lot of discussion these days of, probiotics and also digestive enzymes. Do you find that those are central to your practice as well?
No. Oh. No, because once you understand, once again, I don't like to beat a dead horse. Once you understand how the cell city works, then if you want to take probiotics, you can, but you understand what they're doing inside your body. So digestive enzymes. People take digestive enzymes because their gut district. Because think of everything as a district. You have a brain district, gut, skin, liver, right? They're all different districts in the city, and they all perform certain functions. So your gut district and the microbes in there are not working efficiently in that district.
Right.
So when you bring in water, the minerals, sunlight, all those things make your gut district work better, and the digestive enzymes are not necessary. You see how all that fits together?
Absolutely, I certainly do. Oh, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. Our guest is Benjamin Smith, with the author of a new book called Why Are You Sick? How to Reclaim Your Health with the Ultimate Health Model. Ben, we have about 2 minutes left. Please tell the listeners of Here's to Your Health how they can contact you directly for consultations and also buy your book, Why Are You Sick?
Yeah. So for our book, Why Are You Sick? You go to my website, ultimatehealthmodel.com. The book is free. We just get your email address and we send you the print book for free.
Oh.
The audiobook can be purchased there as well. It's also on Spotify, Amazon, everywhere you can think about. The consultations, you go to my website, you see all about how we can do your consulting. It's not coaching, it's consulting. So we help to map your cell city and help you answer your own questions. So it's a different process. It's consulting. They go to my website, go to Instagram, Ultimate Health Model. They can find me. There's resources everywhere. Anywhere you see Ultimate Health Model, you type it into Google, that's who we are, because we own that with a trademark.
Okay. Again, our guest, Benjamin Smith, author of Why Are You Sick? How to Reclaim Your Health with the Ultimate Health Model. Very good, straightforward information about Benjamin Smith's consulting, how we can, keep ourselves strong and healthy, even if at this point we don't feel as good as we know we could. Sometimes we need someone to assist us, and I think if you read Benjamin Smith's book, you'll realize, oh my goodness, these ideas are very doable. Again, Benjamin Smith, my guest, the author of Why Are You Sick? How to Reclaim Your Health with the Ultimate Health Model. This is Josh Lane. You're listening to Here's to Your Health. We'll take a short break, and we'll be right back after these important messages. Hi, it's Josh, host of Here's to Your Health. I'm happy to recommend Aloe Life for natural skin support, head to toe, scalp to feet. I use Aloe Life Skin Gel, and I know the Aloe Life Skin Gel's premium quality. The skin gel is concentrated. It works fast for itch relief and helps soothe skin with acne. The Aloe Life Skin Gel helped fade my teenage acne scars, and I'm happy with Aloe Life Skin Gel. It's the only aloe vera product with a deep golden yellow color from the mature whole leaf aloe vera. It contains over 100 actives. Only 100% certified organic leaves are used in the Aloe Life Skin Gel, and it's great for all skin issues. Aloe Life, 1-800-414-ALOE. That's 1-800-414-ALOE. Aloe Life for beautiful skin. Aloe Life Skin Gel. It worked for me. Aloe Life, the leader in aloe vera.
Medical scientists worldwide are encouraging people to eat more fish. Most American diets are low in cold water fish that are abundant in important omega-3 oils. DHA and EPA are the vital components of fish oil that provide healthy benefits. Not only are they crucial for brain and vision development, they're very important for cardiovascular health. Carlson, America's leading Norwegian fish oil brand, specializes in both great-tasting soft gels that are easy to swallow and fish oil liquids that don't taste fishy. That's right. Carlson provides the most extensive line of fish oils to meet all your needs. You can take Carlson fish oils with confidence, for Carlson fish oils are tested for purity, potency, and freshness. Ask for Carlson Norwegian fish oils today. That's right. Ask for Carlson Norwegian fish oils today.
The latest from the greatest, the best in new music by classic rockers, with your host, the insane Daryl Wayne.
This is Alice Cooper, and if Daryl Wayne is insane, what does that make me? Criminally insane. Stick around to find out.
Many of the artist interviews for the latest from the greatest have been captured on audiobook. There is a Volume 1 and Volume 2. Great information and conversations with people in the industry and people surrounded by the industry, and of course the rock stars themselves.
I'm the Reverend Al Green, and you're listening to the insane Daryl Wayne. And I said Wayne Insane.
You can find it on Amazon or Blackstone Audio. Search for the latest from the greatest from Daryl Wayne, Darrell Wayne.
Hello, this is Weird Al Yankovic, and you're listening to the insane Daryl Wayne, aren't you?
Welcome to this edition of Here's to Your Health. I'm your host, Josh Lane. The discussion of fluoridation of water is an important topic, and there has been a lot of movement on this subject here in the United States. And I thought it'd be interesting to discuss fluoride and the problems associated with the use of fluoride in water. Utah is the first state to ban the addition of fluoride to public drinking water. Scientific experts say the move will have a positive benefit for our health, especially the health of our children. And Utah, again, the first state to ban the addition of fluoride to public drinking water after Governor Spencer Cox signed the law. The ban began May 7th of 2025. Representative Stephanie Gricus, who sponsored the bill, that she was thrilled that the governor signed it, and Representative Gricus said, "The proper role of government is to provide safe, clean drinking water, not mass medicate the public. While we have banned it from being added to our water systems, we have also increased access to fluoride tablets through the pharmacies so that any Utah citizen who wishes to take it may, but it will now be a decision each individual can make for themselves. The new law bans water fluoridation, but also gives pharmacists new authority to prescribe fluoride supplement pills. Typically, such pills can be prescribed only by a dentist or a physician. What Utah has accomplished is historic. It is a huge step forward, so says Rick North, a board member of the Fluoride Action Network, so-called FAN, Fluoride Action Network. And Fluoride Action Network won a landmark ruling in a lawsuit against the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency for the agency's failure to appropriately regulate the chemical. North said Utah's law is a milestone for public health in the country and part of a nationwide trend towards removing this toxin from our water. Governor Spencer Cox, governor of Utah, signed the bill amid growing opposition to water fluoridation across the country, driven by new research published in top journals showing that fluoride exposure is linked to lowered IQ in children and other negative neurocognitive effects, even at fluoridation levels currently recommended by public health agencies. The research also indicates that water fluoridation has little to no effect on dental health. Utah has provided really a working scientific study, and there's a dentist named Griffin Cole, who was the conference chairman of the International Academy of Oral Medicine and Toxicology. And Dr. Cole said, Utah provided a working scientific study showing that fluoride had no positive effects on dental health because almost half the state already didn't fluoridate its water. They were able to look at decay rates in areas that were fluoridated and areas that weren't, and there was no difference. Utah's governor, Spencer Cox, similarly pointed this out. You would think, this is a quote from Governor Cox, you would think that you would see drastically different outcomes with half the state not getting it and half the state getting it. But Governor Cox said, I've talked to a lot of dentists. We haven't seen that. So it's got to be a really high bar for me if we're going to require people to be medicated by their government. Kathleen Theisen, a PhD, who co-authored the 2006 National Resource Council study on fluoride toxicity, said she hopes more states will follow Utah's example. Kathleen Theisen, the PhD, added, the evidence over 20-plus years indicates an increased risk to children's health from exposure to fluoride prenatally and during infancy and during early childhood, especially for neurodevelopmental issues. Reduced IQ in children has been found for exposure in the range expected with community water fluoridation. Infants fed formula prepared with fluoridated tap water have some of the highest exposures in the population at an extremely vulnerable developmental stage. The Children's Health Defense CEO, Mary Holland, said that she hoped that Utah's new law would be a catalyst for further states' removal of fluoride. The Children's Health Defense applauds Utah on this momentous action to remove fluoride from water. As a result, we will likely see significant health improvements there. Brenda Staudenmeier, another plaintiff in the fluoride lawsuit, said she was glad to see states making moves to protect their citizens, particularly the most vulnerable groups, developing fetuses and bottle-fed infants who are at greatest risk of fluoride neurotoxicity. Staudenmeier said that focusing on fluoride for 80 years had created blind spots with unintended consequences, and she hopes that now dental associations will use their large membership to focus on increasing Medicaid reimbursements, ensuring that low-income individuals have access to dental care. Brenda Staudenmeier further added, they should advocate for reducing sugar in public school breakfast programs, promoting breastfeeding to support proper mouth development in children, raising public awareness about how mouth breathing impacts dental decay, and encouraging the use of xylitol gum after meals for children with sensory issues and vitamin D supplementation. Moms Against Fluoridation, another plaintiff whose mission is to ban fluoridation nationally, also celebrated the news. By banning this fluoride drug to the water, the citizens in Utah have now reclaimed a real freedom. They can choose for themselves whether to take fluoride or not. The peer-reviewed science is now so clear and so abundant that drinking fluoridation chemicals, these injure our health and they fail to reduce tooth decay. Water fluoridation has joined the list that includes lead, asbestos, and DDT, the organization added. Another organization, the Fluoride Action Network, their executive director Stuart Cooper said, government-funded science is clear that fluoridation is causing harm to our children on par with lead and arsenic. Utah is the first state to make the practice illegal, but they join Hawaii and 98% of Europe in rejecting the practice. And those of you who are surprised to hear that fluoridation is not good and think, oh my God, how foolish to say it's not good, remember that in Europe, all the advanced European nations, Germany, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, England, France, Spain, none of the advanced European nations fluoridate their water. After the Second World War, in the 1950s, we added fluoridation to the German water supply. In 1973, the German scientists studied and found that fluoridation had no effect in preventing dental decay, and they took it out. Only in Ireland, in 4 or 5 counties, is the water fluoridated. So if your family and friends make fun of you for saying fluoride's not a good thing, point out to them that none of the advanced European nations fluoridate their water. Now, the CDC, unfortunately, the Center for Disease Control, and the American Dental Association continue to support fluoridation despite the evidence. The growing body of research shows fluoride's toxic effects, and they gained national attention when a federal judge ruled in the lawsuit brought by the Fluoride Action Network, by Mothers Against Fluoridation, by Food and Water Watch, and others against the EPA, that water fluoridation at current U.S. levels poses an unreasonable risk to children's health and that the agency must regulate it. U.S. District Judge Edward Chen's outlined the scientific evidence that fluoride exposure is linked to reduced IQ in children. The EPA announced that it planned to appeal the ruling days before President Biden left office. Major medical associations and public health agencies, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Dental Association, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, continue to support adding fluoride to drinking water on the grounds that it helps prevent cavities. They are supported by the mainstream press, which typically refers to fluoride as a naturally occurring mineral and downplays the negative effects of fluoride on children's health. Now, fluoride does occur naturally, but the fluoride added to public drinking water is a byproduct of the phosphate fertilizer production. As documents from the fluoride lawsuit confirmed, it is then sold off to public water supplies. Research that the ADA, the AAP, and mainstream outlets cite to support their claim that fluoride has a significant impact on dental health is outdated. An updated Cochrane review published in October 2024 found that adding fluoride to drinking water provides very limited dental benefits, if any, especially compared with 50 years ago. Fluoridation was thought originally to work both systemically and topically, said dental researcher Dr. Hardy Limbach, professor emeritus and former head of the preventive dentistry at the University of Toronto. By swallowing a small amount of fluoride each day, it would incorporate into developing teeth of growing children and act as a future reservoir for when the enamel was dissolved by the acid made by bacteria that cause cavities. But there was never enough fluoride to do that. Professor Limbach added, eventually, researchers showed that fluoridation works topically by building up fluoride in dental plaque, which is then released during demineralization or remineralization cycles by cavity-causing bacteria. The CDC confirmed the topical mechanism was the main mechanism, but with the introduction of so many other sources of fluoride from the 1960s onward, including toothpaste, mouthwashes, dental materials, fluoridation was less and less effective to the point that today it has almost no effect. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, this week announced that it has taken the next step in its plan to do a gold standard review of the health effects of fluoride in drinking water. This week, the agency separately filed a brief in its appeal of a landmark September 2024 federal court ruling that ordered the EPA to take regulatory action on fluoride based on evidence that water fluoridation at current U.S. levels poses an unreasonable risk to children's health. In its press release, the EPA said it plans to release a preliminary scientific assessment plan and literature survey to inform future protective recommendations. It said the review could eventually influence allowable federal limits on fluoride in water. A similar comprehensive review focused on fluoride's neurotoxic effects on children that was published in 2024 by the National Toxicology Program, the NTP, an interagency research body housed within the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. The September 2024 court ruling cited the NTP's findings linking prenatal and childhood exposure to fluoridated water to reduced IQ as key evidence. The most pressing need right now is actual action to protect people, not another government review, said Michael Connett, the attorney who represents the plaintiffs in the EPA lawsuit. That's what the court directed EPA to do, and which EPA is refusing. The EPA's plans for its own review will be published in the Federal Register. The plan will explain how the EPA's Office of Water plans to evaluate scientific research on fluoride's health effects. It will also identify key scientific questions for investigation. This is what the FDA says. Now, once the plan is published, there will be a 30-day public comment period and outreach efforts, including this week, a webinar on the preliminary plan. A spokesperson from the Office of Water said in a media call about the plan that the review will be subject to peer review. However, details on what will follow after public comment period is vague. Now, the EPA recommends fluoride limits, but Health and Human Services decides if fluoride should be added to public water. The announcement of a proposed plan comes 9 months after the EPA Administrator, Lee Zeldin, announced the agency would expeditiously review new science on the possible health risks of fluoridation. Thursday's press conference did not specify whether the EPA will review other health concerns related to fluoride. However, overwhelming scientific research shows that fluoride's benefits to teeth are topical, not the result of ingesting fluoride. Research also shows that ingesting fluoride is linked to reduced IQ, behavioral issues, disruption of thyroid functioning, and problems with the gut microbiome. This is an ongoing investigation, and Here's to Your Health will keep you informed on the current information about fluoridation and how it affects our health. Thank you for listening to the show. If you have suggestions for guests or topics you would like to hear, please email me at joshlane.wellness@gmail.com. That's joshlane.wellness@gmail.com. JOSHLANE wellness@gmail.com. On behalf of the cast and crew, I would like to wish you a healthy and safe good evening.